You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. John Carpenter. The Early Years. Assault on Precinct 13.
Okay, welcome to the second season of the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Its purpose is to look into the horror films, dissecting them one screen legend at a time. Our second horror legend and focus for the upcoming seasons will be director, writer, producer, musician, you could probably throw in there. John Carpenter, who gave us, the team at Surgeons of Horror podcast, the impetus to gather ourselves together and look back at his career and the impact it had on the horror film genre. That's really off-putting, man.
I'm doing the thing.
I know you are.
It's awesome.
I think your synth is broken.
So, in order to successfully do this, though, we need a team of horror aficionados who will form the surgical team each episode. So let me introduce you. First up is yours truly, Paul Farrell, lead surgeon and host of the series of the podcast. Self-confessed horror freak who grew up drawn to the dark work of the silver screen. Threw myself into that arena with a lot of relish and glee, may I add. Joining me each episode at the operating theatre is a select team of horror aficionados who are hand-selected to perform the surgical task of dissecting each movie. On hand with me for this particular episode is Chief Anaesthetist. And I hate that word, so we're calling him the Big Cheese from now on.
Big Cheese!
And that's Anthony Yee.
Hello.
Who offers an who offers an insightful study into the art of cellulite.
Does he do you think he makes 4 notes? I'm the music composer, and he just says, "I'll take that percentage of the budget of music, whatever the music composer budget is, whatever film he does.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Here's 5 notes on a loop.
Well, he's going a bit crazy at the moment with all these gigs and stuff. People are flocking to it.
His music is great. Don't get me wrong.
Really, really good.
Yeah, so you don't want to offend any of the...
I'm not offending his music.
He's even like a gun for hire for other film, horror film or film kind of makers now that get him in to do the music for him because...
Without even trying, it's just effortless.
It's something, yeah.
But what's the thing is bum bum.
Yeah.
Bum bum, that's it.
That's it.
I feel that moment when Spielberg when John Williams went, okay, here's the thing for Jaws.
Yeah.
And it's like, funny, what do you got? No, that was it. Castle check.
That's right. So I've listed here that your skill set. I have to move on, otherwise we'll get to an hour and 45 minutes that we did for the fucking country. Okay, so your skill set is that you are, and I guess as case in point, is that you have a keen eye for the slightest of details. So you kind of narrow in on any of those imperfections and stuff that just ails the inquisitive mind.
The more irrelevant, the better.
Yeah. And to my left in the podcast booth is Chief Surgical Technician Ben Skinner.
Guten Tag.
Throwing a little bit of a Euro language flavour into this.
We need to be more...
Yeah, we do. That's it. It's just not going to fly.
Because having 1 second Asian isn't enough.
And you are somebody who really gets into the guts of the subject, and that's kind of where I turn to you when we really want to talk about the nitty-gritty of the piece. So that's the team. Without further ado, let's dissect our second subject on the John Carpenter early sessions. And this subject is, of course, Assault on Precinct 13.
Yes.
So cute.
What?
You missed the cue!
I'll do the other thing, which is... Dun, dun. It's like the Dirty Harry.
Yeah. Like the little...
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
Because every time they put out soundtracks of John Carpenter, those 2 songs are included.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's not even Precinct 13, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. So, as is the case, and if anyone's new listeners out there, what we tend to do is we go through the plot narrative and we rip it apart and dissect it and talk around it, and then we move into kind of talking about the players of the piece that were involved, any kind of stand-up performances, any scare factors, if it's leaning that way, a few director's notes, and then our final verdict. So let's get into the journey. We open with that music. Man, you're so shit at it. And which is iconic. Like, to me, we've had Dark Star already, but this is the first instance we've had of Carpenter's signature in his music, and I used to have this one as a ringtone for ages. Yeah, I love it. It's still one of my favourite tunes of his.
And even if you hadn't seen I'd be surprised if you hadn't heard this already before you saw the film, because
It is, I haven't seen the film when I got the songs of John Carpenter.
Yeah.
That was one of the few films I hadn't seen. And I was thinking, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's a good beat. Yeah. So we open up in Anderson, California. It's an LA ghetto. We're told that it's Saturday and it's 3:10 a.m. We see 6 gang members from this gang called Street Thunder. They're going to terrorise.
Were they labelled Street Thunder?
Yeah, it came up on the radio a bit later on.
On the radio, okay.
Yeah, actually a dance crew.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're Street Thunder!
Dangerous.
Also, they're a multiracial gang.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Good.
Multiracial gang! They're the worst gangs ever.
Yeah.
Diversity.
Because they're vicious, but they get on.
But that's all right, because the police gunned them down in the middle of an alley.
Not much has changed.
No, that's right. We learned that through the radio that we learned that the juvenile gun problem is out of control, so kind of adding to that kind of tension that's set around the location. And we cut to our 4 warlords, as they're labelled in the credits.
Multiracial warlords.
White warlord, black warlord, Oriental warlord, and Chicano warlord.
They say Oriental in the credits. I love it.
Yeah, Oriental
I've not
warlord.
seen that in these
They sit around with a bunch of arsenal before cutting themselves, capture their blood in some form of pact.
They cut themselves with really big knives.
Yeah.
Pour like a gallon of blood each into this fish bowl. Totally fine.
Die on the spot. And that was the end of the film.
That's the film.
Yeah.
It's a churro, which are really good with caramel in the movie theaters.
So are you aware of this?
I read about it afterwards.
Okay.
It's a blood pact to fuck somebody up.
Okay, cool. Well, go on.
Yeah, well, no, it's interesting that you looked it up straight away.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those things that's not really explained.
No.
That's good. I like that. I like that it's not.
Other than the Wells character kind of semi-knowing what it's about and going, that's crazy shit, or something a bit further down the track. Okay, so this all happens, so we can kind of starting to learn that they're a bit fucked, these people in the head. We then come to daytime and we're introduced to Lieutenant Bishop as he gets into his car and heads off to work. He's assigned to... He's whistling a tune, which...
Yeah, that was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've got this in the director's note, but this is John Carpenter. I'll say it now. John Carpenter has really wanted to make a Western.
That's supposed to be Rio Bravo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Rio Bravo. It's based on. So I don't know if the theme's from that or if it's just a nod to how the cowboys or the heroes tend to whistle a lot.
They got a Western vibe.
Yeah.
I've actually seen Rio Bravo a couple times, and I found out that was his homage to it. It was really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into that in the...
Go on. Smoke.
Okay, that's number 1. Okay.
Okay, go on.
So we'll get into the director's notes down the track. So anyway, Bishop then this is where he learns that he's been assigned to Precinct 9. Yes, I said Precinct 9, Division 13.
Yes.
So it does make you wonder why it's called Assault on Precinct 13. It sounds better, man. Then call it a Precinct 13.
But District 9 worked, but that was like not 20 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did think, was that a flip?
Were you like, is this the prequel?
Yeah. What's going to happen or something? But anyway, but the cool thing about that scene is that he's driving along, and 3 times this woman pulls up alongside, stares right down the camera, going, "What the hell's going on?" Because there's a camera rig in the car. It's not a sled.
I think it's just because he's black. I think.
Well, it was a black woman.
That's a black sheriff.
It was a black woman. Didn't want to point that out, but just the look she gives right down the camera.
I know. I thought there was going to be a drive-by. I actually thought that's what it was.
She's going to pull down, but you can see him acknowledge her, and he's trying to slow down while trying to accelerate. And twice she catches up with him, and you can tell he's not trying to look at her. I've only got 1 take. Stop reading it.
But it says a lot about the budget. And again, just to remind people, this was the second movie that Carpenter did. So not a lot of money left there. But it was the one that would cement the way forward for what would be his next movie, which we'll talk about a bit down the track. This is where, as I said, he's learning he's going to Precinct 9, and we also learned that it's a precinct that's about to close down as well. So he's kind of going there on guard duty, essentially, just to make sure that...
To see it done.
Yeah, to see it through. We then cut to a prison where a prison transport is about to take place. We meet 2 convicts plus a third whose name is Wilson. Q and...
Wilson?
You gotta smoke.
Oh, Q smoke, yeah.
Which is where he says the line, you gotta smoke for the first of many
I thought
times.
you were referencing Castaway.
I was, yeah. Wilson. Yes, he says he's got smoke. Anybody got smoke?
Wilson trips up the warden to play a trick on him.
He throws his chain around.
And kind of pulls him down. So that's kind of
I thought
showing...
that was going to be a legitimate escape attempt, but
it's
more just fuck you,
buddy.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah.
So we're now at 5:37 p.m. and there's a guy called Lawson and his daughter Kathy in the car.
Like Kim Richards.
Kim Richards, man.
She was my high school, like my fantasy crush, but I didn't realise. I grew up with her. That's why I was like, when I hit puberty, she hit puberty. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. We all have those. I think Christina Ricci was mine.
Yeah.
Christina Ricci. Oh, really? Julia Sawalha for me. Press Gang.
Yes, Press Gang too. Yeah, she was my British version of that.
Yeah, that was where I went. Ooh, Linda Day. Tell me more.
And everyone listening just thinks we're creeps.
Yeah. Wait.
Wait, that's normal, right?
It's like, yeah. Stay tuned.
This is Kim Richards as an annoying little girl.
Yeah, we're talking I presume not long after Little House on the Prairie kind of time where that's what she was known for.
I thought she was known for Disney.
Yeah, Disney.
The mountain.
And we'll go to her as well and talk about that.
Was it
Race to the Mountain.
Race to Brokeback Mountain.
Race to I'm going to get that first.
It's a mashup.
So they're there to try and the father and daughter are there because they're in this neighbourhood because they want to try and convince the nan that we don't see to move out of the tough neighbourhood that they're in. We then see the gang, the four warlords roaming the streets, and they hop into a car and drive around, and they're packing heat, which I want to turn to you, Anne, for a moment, because I know one of your bugbears is how guns are represented on movies. We're seeing a lot of Arsenal on show here.
Yes.
Believable?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Firstly, for the Mauser, which is the pistol they were carrying, the silencers that they're holding for that particular gun are way too short.
Yeah.
The betrayal silencers, which is a big plot point in this movie.
Yeah, it is.
Completely unrealistic, but they're unrealistic in most movies, in pretty much every movie.
Yeah.
Because they have silencers on revolvers, which don't exist.
Yeah.
Because they don't work. But also, Dirty Harry had silencers on revolvers, so that was,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so far I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so now we cut back to Bishop. So he actually now turns up at the precinct. There's a kind of bit where he observes the lay of the land before he goes in, so that gives the audience a sense of location. We see the car park, across the road with only a few cars there, and there's hardly anything there, like you said, desolate. And then he goes into the precinct. This is where we meet Lee and Julie. I've put here down here they're secretaries at the station.
They're called secretaries.
Are they secretaries or are they? Because
today you call them admin assistants.
Okay,
because they're civilians, they're not cops.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So they're and that's a really good point. They're civilians, not cops. That's an important point in this. And then we get the kind of slightly awkward dialogue between Bishop and Lee, where she offers him coffee, and he says, "How do you like it? Black and sweet like my men." No, that's different movie. That's when he says, "Black," and I have been for over 30 years.
I don't think hello. It's so racist. It's now cool again. Like it's that come around.
Yeah.
That you can't get away with it now. But yeah, it is.
Anyway,
Does she laugh at all?
She gives him a derisive look.
You.
Yeah. She gives him a look as would say, "I can't believe you said that."
Yeah.
It's really weird. She's interesting. Anyway,
I would be better if you looked at the camera after you said that.
Wink to
fall.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, 30 years. Anyway, so
he's a chip, by the way. I just realised he's a California Highway Patrolman.
Yes.
He's a chip, that's why he's the same colour.
Yeah, that's it.
Chick.
Yeah.
He's a chick.
He's a chick. This is the bit where Poncho turns up.
Yeah. And who's the other one?
Hank?
George.
I don't know. Let's call him Bob.
Yeah.
So we also learn in this kind of interaction that Bishop grew up in the area that they're in, and more again kind of laying the groundwork of that it is a fucking rough neighbourhood, in case we weren't aware of that.
He tells us the story of his dad sending him in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which apparently happened to Alfred Hitchcock.
Really?
Supposedly, that's what I read somewhere.
That's pretty cool.
Mm.
And so, but we get this kind of thing where she says to him, "Yeah, well, good job your parents got you out early," and he kind of makes a point. I actually grew up here until I was 20, and I left of my own accord.
Yes.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Take that. And I've been black for 30 years. So
this podcast is become about race.
It's going to be race. Yeah, well, like it is an interesting. But because this is I'll mention it now. I have put it in the notes down the track. But Austin Stoker, who plays a bishop in this, is an African American. It's the first, one of the first films where we've seen an African American play a lead in a film. And there's a lot of nods to Night of the Living Dead in this respect too.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on here, and it's deliberate, you know. And I think, you know, all jokes aside, this was quite a bold and courageous move to do that.
I did wonder that. I was thinking in the scheme of context of Hollywood timeline, like how this actually fell in terms of because he's the lead.
He's the lead. Yeah.
So it would have been a big deal at the time.
Ah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, because they set up that first scene, it was like, okay, is there going to be tension between him and Lee?
Yeah.
Which would be a very bold move for But then Wilson comes in, and then it's like a three-way tension. And it's symbolised by the fact that she just walks out. And not giving away the ending, but she chooses in a way at the end of the movie.
Can't believe he's spoilers, everyone.
I did.
Okay, so we get a lot of background anyway, essentially, of the Bishop character. He goes in to see the captain, who he's relieving for the day or for the evening. And the captain's again talking about all these incidents that are occurring out on the streets. And before he then eventually leaves, handing over the keys, so to speak, to Bishop.
He loads a shotgun, puts inside a box, and locks the box. Which I'm not too sure if you would do that.
Yeah,
load a weapon and then lock it in the box.
Which is key for later on.
It is. It's meant to be shipped out. It's very weird.
Anyway,
but anyway, I found that a bit weird.
Yeah, that's true. We then fast forward. It's 6:18 p.m. and the gang are cruising out on the streets. White Warlord sticks a gun out the window and starts eyeing off potential victims when he spies an ice cream van. I actually found that particular incident probably the most nerving.
It was,
particularly like we see a lot of gun rage, gun incidents, gun crime incidents, and just to have that kind of fear factor of anyone could get
these people
picked
have no
off.
idea.
And I found that probably overall the most haunting part of the movie.
Well, there's no particular motive behind it.
Yeah, so. No, that's it. That's it. That's exactly it.
And usually, gang crime. If a civilian is killed, it's like collateral damage. But this is like targeted.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So the driver around, and then we cut to the ice cream driver, and he also notices the car cruising around. We then go back to the prison bus, and then we have Wilson waxing lyrical. We have the cop guy who asks why he killed those men. So we're getting a bit of we never really find out what he did, although the hint there is that he killed a lot of people. Yeah. And we also learned that his first name is Napoleon as well, just to make it obscure. This is probably the first instance of anti-hero characters that John Carpenter uses with quirky names too.
Snake
Plissken. Yeah. Now, I'm going to say it now, but this, to me, this character of Napoleon Wilson, I feel really strongly is an indicator or the first or the prototype of what Snake Plissken will be. And this is why I think this is such an important movie. Okay. But we'll move on to that down the track again. So then we also find out that one of the prisoners is sick on the bus.
Yes.
And so they're going to have to stop. And would you believe it? It's going to be at precinct 9. We then go back.
That's another moment where he looks at the camera and there's a crash. You expect him to say 13, but he doesn't.
It's 9. Division 13. Lawson and his daughter Kathy pull over so that he can make a call from a public phone box because he's lost, I think, at this point.
Why didn't he use his mobile phone?
Doesn't have one, man. Doesn't have one.
Not very.
There are a lot of phone boxes in this.
Yeah.
They're not vandalised.
Don't work. That's a good point. Kathy sees the ice cream van and goes to buy one, and the driver is looking a bit nervous because that car is still circling around. As Kathy walks away, the White Warlord pulls the driver out the ice cream van and knocks him to the ground. Kathy realises that she has the wrong ice cream.
She literally goes, "Oh, Ferry, this isn't vanilla swirl."
And then goes back.
Yes.
Has she already licked, though? If you've licked, I believe, no refunds.
That's it.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do, yes.
How would she know it's not the right flavour until she licks?
That's right.
No, so it's a swirl. She wanted a...
Oh, like a proper...
This is a scoop. That's right. But, I mean... You'd see that.
Yeah.
That's right. She pulled the scoop.
Maybe the fact that character doesn't...
Anyway. What?
She deserved to die.
Well, just to help the gene pool.
Stupid. So she realises she's got the wrong ice cream, goes back to the ice cream van, and White Warlord coldly shoots her point blank before then shooting the ice cream driver.
without even looking, he shoots her.
Yeah.
And he shoots the wall, the ice cream driver twice in the back.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't know anything about this film. Right? I saw the remake, but I was like, "Holy fuck! Kim Richards just got killed."
Yeah.
It was pretty. And this is the scene that made it a seminal film for a lot of people because it's one of the few instances where graphically a child was killed on camera.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to that in particular down the track because there's something really important around that.
But it was like, oh my god! I remember thinking, oh, that's a bit wild.
Even now, that's that would linger if you saw that in a movie now.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's like shooting a rabbit or shooting a dog. You know?
Exactly. Okay, so he's killed 2 people, and then Lawson, the father, runs over, and the ice cream driver, who's still alive barely at this point, tells him that he's got a gun in the van.
Gun underneath the dash.
And then Lawson then drives off in pursuit of the gang. Night falls, and Lawson catches up to the van, and he shoots and kills the White Warlord.
How do you know that was the guy that killed his kid? Just picked one?
Yeah, just picked one.
Guy. Then he realises, oh fuck, maybe that wasn't a good idea, because I've just shot all 6 bullets out of his gun. Yeah. And there's 3 of them still alive.
And then 3 of them come out of the car. And then we get a chase on foot at this point. Why? I forget. Was there a reason why they didn't just get back in the car?
He rounds to a phone booth. They, for some reason, walk. Yeah. But then they become 6 out of nowhere, like out of the darkness. They come.
Well, this is what's part of what's really good about this movie too, is because the gang slowly gets bigger and bigger as it goes on.
A force. They're not people.
Exactly. That's right. Oh yeah, absolutely. So Lawson then eventually comes across the precinct by luck, and then he goes in, and that's when he kind of breaks down. And then and can't talk.
Over the top is not over the top enough. Acting school.
Okay, so then so the transport officer is on the phone at this point when he's suddenly cut off, and then the power goes out. Mm-hmm. We have Officer Cheney, who's like the only, I guess, beat officer that's there outside.
The desk officer.
Yeah, he's a desk officer. That's it. So he goes to call a fellow precinct using the comms in his car, but in doing so, he gets shot and killed.
Yeah. And they go, oh, he's tripped.
That's Cheney. What a cunt. He's done the... Hey, Julie, he's done the falling over again.
He's doing the bleeding out of the back.
Oh, dear.
But it is interesting because before they actually realise that there's a danger present, they just stay behind the doors. Like, wouldn't you open the door and just, oh, you're all right, mate?
That's right.
They all stay.
That's it.
They prefer to look through this little window. It's just Yeah,
that's it. So at the same time, the prison transport guys who are getting transported back onto the bus suddenly get ambushed. They basically kill every officer standing, and I think the sick prisoner
gets killed.
And then it's just Wilson and Wells that are left, and they kind of scramble themselves back in. I think Bishop starts, helps them, but he locks them back up again.
Yes.
So two prisoners are still safe. Gunfire just kind of hails down on them as they kind of duck and cover. And then we're kind of just left with... so other than the prisoners, there's Bishop, Lee and Julia, the sole survivors of the department. And the father is still alive too. Mm-hmm. So we've got, 6 people.
Is he just completely stricken with grief, or...
Yeah, he's just gone.
He's just incapacitated?
He's catatonic.
I did think that at one point. Yeah. Later on, I wondered, there's another round of gunfire, and I thought he was dead. But he wasn't.
He does not move.
No, that's right.
He's just entombed.
That's it.
Mummy.
Yeah. So eventually the gunfire ceases, and the survivors try to take stock of the situation. And I think Bishop says the lines, "We're in the middle of the city, inside the police station." As in, we're supposed to be in the safest place ever, and it's not.
Not very safe.
Not very safe. And then Bishop looks out the station, and he sees a lot of movement, and this is where we do see the extent of the number of the gang. Like, they just start coming out of the darkness.
Yeah.
Awesome moment.
Because they coordinated, because they called each other on their mobiles.
Yeah, that's it. That's how they did it. Yeah.
Beepers, perhaps.
Hey, I got a fax here.
Wait, I think... Has anybody got a phone? Just got a beep.
Yeah. Siege at Precinct 13.
Where's that?
Turned up, the Precinct 9, There isn't 13.
Like half of them turned up to Precinct 13. There's nothing going on.
That's the wrong one.
Yeah.
So at this point, the three remaining warlords come out. They throw some blood on the floor and drape a sheet with some writing on the ground, and we later learned that this is known as the Cholo.
But they throw the blood on the ground. They put the sheet. It's too windy, and the sheet is going to blow away. Cut to a close up on another day when it's not so windy. Because they didn't think that through. Because that's the sort of thing. If you want to make a dramatic statement, like throw a sheet on the ground, you just know that it's going to be a windy day.
Yeah, of course.
Just totally undermine what you want to do.
Quick. Get Cheney, pin him down on that corner, stick him there.
Have you got 4 rocks?
You stand on there.
You got 4 rocks? Yeah, that's right, bitch.
Yeah, Cholo, you.
Yeah. And they'll walk back.
They do, and then they walk back calmly. So basically this means they've been marked, and we're now facing a siege situation. And we have the Julie character saying about the father, here's the one they want.
There's always one.
just throw him to the wall.
There's always one that says, if you betray Robin Hood, then the Sheriff of Nottingham won't tax us.
Yeah, that's it. She says that word for word. And obviously Bishop's the one that stands for the moral high ground and says, no, we're here to protect.
Protect on the serve.
Yep. So the gang then outside start pushing the cars forward and they start firing again. So they're using the parked cars across the street as barriers. Lee goes and releases the prisoners just as the gang start breaking into the back, and Wilson protects her.
She gets shot in the arm and doesn't even flinch.
She doesn't flinch a lot.
She's completely cold, like a freaking robot, to the point where... Is this the twist where we reveal she's a vampire or something? Because she gets shot right through the arm and goes... Not going to cry. Not going to say anything.
Yeah, fuck you.
And they keep coming.
Cholo your ass.
Yeah. Cholo this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm just thinking of is it Spitz or Cholo? Come on.
Okay.
So they've been so as I said, Lee kind of breaks out Wilson and Wells. Bishop finally gets some arsenal and hands it to Wilson, who starts blowing away some of the members as they break in.
That's the box.
That's the box. Finally gets it open.
Yeah, he pulls. What's he do? He just rips it open.
Yeah, I don't know. He just tries harder.
Yeah,
if only I did that before.
I thought he was going to. Did he use the gun to?
I can't remember.
I think he just or something. But anyway, here's the loaded shotgun.
It's like opening a jar. Like it was loosened before.
Yeah, that's what somebody else. Lee goes, I loosened that for you. That's the reason why.
It is a pretty cool. It's a cool moment though.
It is.
The gun toss.
That's it. And automatic.
Oh, it was very choreographed, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's great. And that's very iconic of westerns too. Remembering homages to Rio Bravo here. And it's all about defence now, as we see Wilson happily offing people left, right and centre. We have Bishop and Lee also defending themselves, and as the gang keeps advancing.
Bishop uses a rifle.
He does, yeah.
Deer rifle.
Deer rifle.
Deer. But they keep coming.
They do.
They're like a fucking zombie horde.
Yeah. I wonder how many extras like
one was John Carpenter.
Yeah, one was John Carpenter.
I was going to say, like, the same group of extras getting killed.
I remember.
But my first thought was like, they're just, again, not realising that he's symbolically going for zombies here. But, like, why do you keep running down a corridor when you've seen there's 15 of you already dead? Maybe as a 16th guy, you probably go, maybe I won't do this. Because clearly that's a death. No, they keep coming! They keep getting shot.
I think they're just suicidal. And
that's it.
They figure they'll run out of bullets eventually.
That's it.
Well, do you want to go first, man? Just in case, you know, just a film.
I'll be right. You'll be right.
You go first, Dan. Oh, okay. As long as I bang. So yeah.
Okay, I realise that Ant and Ben's dead, but let's keep going. But it's a Cholo. And then we get a bit more insight into that in a sec. So eventually the onslaught does stop, and this is when they start to board themselves up, barricading themselves in as much as they can. They discover some bottles of flammable gas, might come in handy later on. And we also, when they look out the window, they see that the gang have then put all the cars back, removed all the bodies, and hidden any evidence of the carnage that took place.
Took all the shells.
Pick that up.
Pick that shit up.
Just got the chemicals out, scrubbing like the...
No blood.
No, like, to the blood on the
so the idea is that if anyone passes by, it'll just look like nothing's happened.
And they use silencers. And nobody heard anything.
That's it.
Which is bullshit.
Oh, come on.
Just YouTube silencers on any gun, it's very loud.
No, it goes like this. Come on. We then learn through Wells that Cholo means that the gang don't care and will rip us apart no matter what the cost, to the death. Wells threatens to make a run for it, but is convinced round.
That's right, because he has a revolver with a silencer, which again can't work.
Yeah.
And he realises, oh no, I was shooting no bullets, but because it was on silent, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
It's like,
I love that bit. I had no idea.
No idea I wasn't shooting bullets.
You mean you didn't kill anyone, you twat? Okay.
That was a bad shot.
So the times are desperate and ammunition is low,
yes.
even the silent ones. A police car drives by and takes a sweep around the neighbourhood. One of the cops looks a bit like Ben Stiller, I wrote.
Oh,
I didn't
It's not him. It's not him. But I kind of went, Zoolander?
Before Reality Bites.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. Look at
It could be just me because I'm a bit like that, but there you go. They decide to ignore the street where the precinct is on and drive past. At the precinct, the guys come up with a plan to get to a car, hotwire it, and make a break for it. Well, Bishop can't do it because he's doesn't know how to hotwire a car. He's a cop. I don't know how to do that. Yeah. Lee's got one arm. She's been shot in the arm. Yeah. And so it's down to the convicts. And how do they resolve it? They play potatoes.
Taters?
Taters.
What is that?
No idea.
So much, apparently...
I still didn't get it when I watched it. I was like, what?
What is that? It's so...
How do you know who won?
That's a game of skill as opposed to, like, scissors, papers, rock, because it's, purely a game of luck.
I don't know what
and
it is.
I keep saying he's got terrible luck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, dude, you're going to die. Like, it's inevitable.
That's it. Okay.
Take you out of the movie for like a second.
I just thought that bit was hilarious. Yeah. Anyway. So Wells gets the short straw, and he's the one that goes to make a run for the car. Wells climbs out of the manhole, hotwires the car, starts to drive away, and just when it looks like he's in the clear, a gang member pops up from behind the back seat and shoots him.
Because that game said, of all the cars he's going to steal, it's going to be this one.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wait in the back.
There's lots of cars out there, and each one had a gang member in the back. Just in case.
Can you imagine what the car he didn't hop in going, well, this is fucked. Like, I'm just waiting around for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, at least Jeff
Thanks.
got killed.
Yeah, that's it.
I like how he shoots him, his head goes out the window, and Bishop from like way back. So well, maybe his head just fell out the window. That could have been anything.
He's alright.
He's fine.
Yeah, sure, the car's on fire, but he's alright. Okay, so then now this is where the gang start coming out in droves for the final ambush. The three survivors grab the father and hold.
There's a lot because Julie was killed, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, it's true. I just totally missed that. How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Totally missed that. Julie's dead. Oh yeah, that was after the first onslaught. Before they decide they need to do something and make a run for it. Yeah, Julie gets killed.
They put her body next to the father's.
How do I miss that?
So catatonic. He's dead too.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Thanks for picking that up.
I didn't realise until the very end that he was still alive.
Let's drag his body down.
He's dead. Oh. So the three survivors grab him, and they go down and basically hole up in the basement and wait for the onslaught to come. And this is where we're all out of time, and then Wilson goes, "I was born out of time." Gotta smoke. And then Bishop sets up the gas tank from earlier, and says, and basically if they're going to go out, they're going to go out with a bang. Again, we cut to outside. Police car does a drive-by from the same police car from before, and that's where they discover a telephone maintenance man from the village people.
Yes.
Has been shot and killed, and he's hanging dead from the phone lines. They call for emergency backup, and at this point, at the same time, the gang starts breaking into the precinct. And this is the point where Bishop asks Wilson, "How did you become Napoleon Wilson?" And he says, "I'll tell you sometime." And they defend themselves basically with an inch of their lives. We've got Lee killing people who are trying to climb through the vent, which is where Wells escaped to get out through the manhole. And then the last shot that Bishop has just happens to hit the tank. There's an explosion and smoke goes everywhere. And then at this point, the reinforcements arrive and the gang disbands. The smoke clears and officers start walking over the dead bodies. And they find our three survivors holding whatever they had to hand, waiting to defend themselves. And Wilson says, "Anyone got a smoke?" Again. And the father gets carried out on a stretcher. He's still alive. Mm-hmm. And then we get, like you were saying earlier, the point where they go to offer Lee a stretcher because she's been shot in the arm. Mm. And she chooses to walk out. Yeah. And we leave the two guys on their own. Yeah. Which can I just add... white man, black man, ending survivors, the thing. Yes. White man, black man, survivors at the end too, just as a recurring theme. Yeah. And so
no women.
No women. No women.
That's the thing.
That's it. Yeah, can't have any women. Wilson and Bishop so are left there. A cop goes to handcuff Wilson, and Bishop pushes them aside, and then basically turns to Wilson and says, "It would be a privilege if you'd walk outside with me." And Wilson says, "I know it would." And they walk out side by side up this very narrow stairwell, side by side, as equals. Close credits.
Was there another line? I remember there being a pretty fancy Wilson.
Oh yeah, there's an extension to that. Yeah.
And that's it's just kind of a I mean it's they're two badass characters, and they're just they don't have to make sense.
No, that's nothing makes it doesn't at all. Doesn't at all. So before we talk about our final verdicts on it, what was your instincts on watching it? Was this was your first time you watched it?
First time I'd seen it.
So you had seen the remake though, hadn't you?
Because I first heard about Precinct 13 when the remake was coming out, and you were like bouncing off the walls, going, "Oh, it's a remake, it's a remake!" I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I got you to calm down. You told me I saw the Precinct 13 is one of my most seminal films. I loved it. It's John Carpenter. And I was, I had no idea. Didn't know what it's about. Sounds like a really groovy idea.
Yeah.
Saw the remake and went, but never saw the original. Same thing with The Fog. Like, because you were like, when the Fog remake came out, you bounced off the
fucking had Superman in there.
And you talk about The Fog. This is a John Carpenter film. The seminal film. It's my favourite thing ever did. I saw the remake. So, then I saw the original. I might need to see the remake again. And so So my thought was I kind of get now why the remake was what it was, because the remake The Fog extends the storyline a little bit. And
exactly.
And Assault on Precinct 13, the remake, is so much more complicated plot-wise.
Absolutely.
Than this film. But I was like, I couldn't get over the bad acting.
Yeah.
Because it's clearly like one takes. Because they had a lot of moments, particularly from the lead, where they're pausing at the beginning of a sentence, because I'm trying to remember the rest of my life. There's about 4 of those moments. But I do appreciate that this was guerrilla filmmaking at its finest. And I can understand why it was a seminal film. Because thinking about it in context, I'm like, okay, this is a student film that's done really, really well. So, and I can understand why. It's like The Thing. When I saw The Thing as a kid, I want to hear nothing against it. I think it's a brilliant film. But I do, when I step back, realise, nothing really happens for quite a while. And it's a slow-paced film.
What's wrong with that?
I know, but
I get so tired of that.
It's so indicative of the time.
Totally.
It's just they just didn't rush to anything. They had time to breathe.
And by doing that, you get to know the characters a lot more. And yes, you could argue that the characters are a bit weak in this one, but that's
there's actually not that. As you just pointed out, like there's just not that much plot here.
No,
but if you see it at a certain age, it becomes DNA.
Yeah.
This film clearly is for you.
Completely. There's so much I loved about this movie. And I was, I'm so glad that we're talking about Carpenter now, because, for me, he's like that, and particularly this period as well. Yeah, right. I just love his work.
He's so. I don't think I realised how influential he was until I started hearing other directors talk about like everyone, Edgar Wright, like Tarantino.
Yes,
I think he made Tarantino made. This is obviously not. This is a different film, but obviously the cast of The Hateful Eight rewatched the thing before they made The Hateful Eight. Obviously they're stuck in a cabin.
Right.
Very, very claustrophobic.
Nice.
Okay, really?
So even Tarantino, who's actually not that, they're not too far apart, like age-wise, but he obviously watched that movie a lot, or his movies a lot, when he was working in the video store.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Will Gibson apparently mentioned that scene with Kim Richards getting shot, and that helped spark interest in the film.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people, love it.
I think it's because he's like genre-wise, he kind of covered so many different things. Like it wasn't specifically like horror, he wasn't specifically crime or specifically like thriller. Like you got the feeling like he had a grasp just on filmmaking in general.
Yeah.
So look, I get it. I get why it was a similar.
Yeah. Just on the music thing too, like Robert Rodriguez, again part of the whole Tarantino factor. Pretty sure he got. I'll have to look this up to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure he got Carpenter to do some of the music for Planet Terror, which was part of the Grindhouse stuff. Yeah. So as you said, a lot of people were heavily influenced by Carpenter's work.
Yeah, the music for Attack the Block is
very
much a throwback.
That's right.
That's a good film.
But I can see how it couldn't have been that sort of film unless...
Yeah. See, there's certain things about it. And to me, I don't know. Like, I don't know whether I fall into the trap of nostalgia with these kind of films, though. But for me, like, this whole period is just... I love watching them over and over. I could just keep watching them. And we're talking about... so there's not a lot of plot. Yeah, sure. The acting's not great. And the dialogue is sparse. But I think the sparsity is part of the beauty of this film. In the sense that there are these kind of long, kind of drawn-out passages, which
it's
really
kind of... The dialogue's not really important. Like,
nah.
You'd watch the movie without the sound on, and...
You could. You really could.
Especially some of those waves of attacks, like, there's some pretty fast cutting going on there.
Yeah.
And it's really well put together. Like,
you're
not really confused at all. Like, the visual storytelling kind of makes sense, and...
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's the real strength.
I mean, conceptually, for me, too, like, Siege films are great.
Yeah.
The Siege, as a concept, stems all the way back to having a pillow fort as a kid. For me, and I think that's a thing that resonates with a lot of people. And Siege films tend to be fantastic from that point of view.
And a massive Western... I mean, I can keep talking about the Western thing, but it's...
Well, I didn't even know about the West. I just assumed, watching it, I picked up on that straight away.
Yeah,
I didn't do any kind of research into it, but I think it is. And
Very
even the way that they're, like... They run around. Actually, they more remind me of ninjas when they're just like... Cause they're completely silent when they're running around outside, and there's just more of them like appearing. And
well, they're quite faceless. You don't really clock their faces.
No.
Which is the whole Stormtrooper thing. Like Star Wars, the Stormtroopers you can identify them.
That's right.
That helmet on. And the fact that we're just as mindless horde.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. So they're forced.
But some of the best movies are like, disguised as a different genre, like a Western disguised as a modern day,
totally
modern day,
That's right. That's right.
Movie.
Well, Aliens was supposed to be a Vietnam War movie. Some people have drawn this.
Well, I can see that. I can see that very easily. Very easily.
Anyway, go.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's start looking at the players of the piece, the core actors that are in it. Got Austin Stoker, as we mentioned, who plays Ethan Bishop. Outside of this, he played the role of McDonald in Battle for the Planet of the Apes, part of the original franchise, as well as Jeff Allen in the series of the series Return to the Planet of the Apes 2. He was also in Horror High, Airport 1975, and he would also appear alongside his co-star Darwin Joston as Dr. Ken Melrose in the 1982 B-movie Time Walker, which I wouldn't expect you to know that movie. I'm purely mentioning it because he teams up with Darwin again for it. Thoughts on him, lead actor, as we mentioned, very importantly playing against what would be known as the hero type, then having an African American law enforcer who's the one that's defending the cause.
He's just a likable guy. Like, he's just a nice guy.
He's a pretty straight shooter.
Yeah,
there's not much edge to him.
Yeah,
but he kind of needed to be that because when he teams up with
Wilson.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, he's the straight man to Wilson's.
Wilson's the cool guy.
Who played it in the remake? Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke and Larry Fishburne.
So they swapped the roles around.
Yeah.
And Ethan Hawke is very good and he was a greener cop. He was more of an idealist. Whereas I kind of got the impression this guy had been around the block a few times. He's just fighting the book.
Yeah. As an aside, I watched Regression this week. Have you seen that, Ethan Hawke?
Yes, I have.
What do you think of that?
Emma Watson, Okay.
Yeah, same.
He does a lot of okay.
Yeah.
I came out of it going, oh,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anyway,
there
you go.
He's often better than the film around him a lot of the time.
What was the one he did in Australia?
The film, Day of Night, or whatever.
He did Predestination here, and he did
it's the Daybreakers with the Spierig brothers. Yeah.
But he did the one that's a time travel one, and I'm pretty sure
Predestination.
Yeah, and that actress is Australian.
Okay.
Snook,
yeah.
Cool.
And that was okay.
So, but the thing is with that, I know I was hoping there that we were going to keep on track because it was short. But on my last thing on that Regression or Ethan Hawke, I should say, is in particular in that movie, if he wasn't playing that role, I would have tuned out way before. To me, there was something odd about him, which kept me watching it. Anyway, so Darwin Joston, who plays Napoleon Wilson. this was his most noted role, but he did surface as Paul in David Lynch's Eraserhead. He would crop up again in John Carpenter in The Fog, playing a role of the mortician called Dr. Phoebes, which is another nod to another horror film which Vincent Price was in, the abominable Dr. Phoebes. Carpenter has said that he wrote the Napoleon Wilson role with Josten in mind and imbued the character with some of Josten's personality traits. It seems that when Carpenter was writing the screenplay for Assault on Precinct 13, he and Josten both lived in the same Hollywood Hills apartment building, and they became friends. Mm-hmm. So hence why that would infuse in your writing of the script. Having gotten to know Josten and his dark sense of humour, Carpenter felt that his neighbour would make an interesting anti-hero. Some, including Quentin Tarantino, consider Josten to have been a vastly underrated actor whose talent was not duly recognised during his lifetime.
Has he passed on?
Yeah, he's passed on.
Oh.
Yeah,
which probably means that Tarantino would have used him.
Yeah, that's true.
Now he's still around. He would have found a way to use him.
Yeah. So, what do we think of it?
It reminds me of a guy that you work with called Jesse.
He just walked past the recording booth we're in right now.
He did. So he's a guy that the better I work with. He reminds me an awful lot. If Jesse went off the rails, became.
Is that because he's always asking for a smoke?
I think that's what it is.
Nice.
It's just very laconic and.
Hey Jesse, if you're listening,
hey Jess.
We say this in a loving way.
I as I said earlier, to me this character is the prototype to Snake.
Yeah.
Like there's so much around that comes later on. Obviously, Snake is a lot more formed as a character. And Kurt brings Kurt to it. So, but that's no disrespect to the actor. He is I haven't seen Rio Bravo, but is he the John Wayne character?
No.
Or is John Wayne the sheriff character?
John Wayne's the sheriff character. Dean
right.
Martin's probably the closest to it, because Dean Martin's...
Okay.
But Dean Martin was a fallen hero. It's slightly
different. Okay.
And you have your third one is Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin, living the vida loca.
But he was a pop singer back in the day, because my mum...
Ricky Valens.
Ricky Valens.
Okay, was he in that? Okay.
Yeah, he was
the La Bamba guy.
Yeah,
right.
Not La Bamba guy. Ricky something else. But anyway, he was a pop singer, and
Little Richard.
Those roles. And there's two songs in Rio Bravo which are quite good. So Paul's going to play them as cutaways right now.
You're the synth guy.
The thing about Rio Bravo, can I just say real quick?
Yeah,
because the line "Have you got a smoke" was Dean Martin's line. That's why he made it into the movie.
Okay.
But when I first saw Rio Bravo, I was like, you should play a drinking game. If you see Rio Bravo, play a drinking game. Every time somebody puts a rifle down and then picks it up a second later, take a shot. You'll be hammered.
Why would they put a rifle down?
Every scene they come in, particularly John Wayne, puts his rifle down. So he comes in from outside, puts his rifle down, and he realises he's got to go somewhere else, and he picks up his rifle and walks out again.
Is it more just, they've been carrying the rifle, they just need to flex their hands a bit, warm the muscles up, pick it back in?
But it happens a dozen times in the movie.
See, we did say that Ant has an attention to detail of these things.
Irrelevant things.
Look, I really like his character in this. I know it's a bit two-dimensional, to say the least, but there is something about this, and as I said, to me, I feel like it's the bones of what will come later down the track.
Yeah, sure.
Moving forward, we've got Laurie Zimmer, who plays Lee.
I liked her.
I
originally was a bit... Cause she's
liked her, or...
Liked her. No. But originally she comes across as like really... I think she's a model who's trying to hand at acting. Because she's so dead straight.
Yeah.
But because she keeps that consistency up, and she's quite level-headed, she gets shot in the arm and doesn't even blink. She's quite and she plays off against these two. Like when all the guys start hysterically going, "What do we do? What do we do?" and she's the one who's keeping her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was I don't know if that was intentional or if that's just her like
being her.
Maybe she has no other way to go.
She's got a I don't give a fuck attitude, which is cool for the character, but.
Definitely,
she might be like that in every movie.
Well, here's the thing. My first was like, how come I've never heard of this girl?
Yeah.
Because I was like, based on that, she's worthy of trying out a few things.
Yeah.
Then she basically disappeared to the point where somebody made a documentary about
her. Yeah, that's right.
Saying, where is Laurie
Zimmer?
Where is Laurie Zimmer? And
that's exactly right.
It was done in 2009.
Yeah.
And the whole premise was, at the beginning of the doc, she had no idea. She was a friend of hers.
Right.
And she had no idea where she went, so she was asking, including John Carpenter, she asked, where the hell is she? And she drove up and down the neighbourhood she was last seen with a big sign on the back of her truck going, have you seen Laurie Zimmer? Call this number now.
Yeah.
And the film does conclude with she does find her. And she's retired or...
I think she's a teacher or something.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Like, it is an odd one because you're right. Off the back, arguably, we don't know... I've not seen the other movies. She was in 3 other films, okay, firstly, and I'll tell them in a minute. But outside of that, she just dropped off the face of the earth, okay? So we're kind of really only judging her on this one movie. Yes, it's a really cool character. Yes, she does it well, but is she just, like Ben said, is she just being herself in it? It's hard to know. We haven't got another platform to judge her on. Off the back of that, you would expect her to get a lot more work and, and something come out of it, because it was such a... It is such a cool character.
The films from this era, you'd imagine that it's just the ditzy, heroine and trouble.
That's it.
It's not.
It's such a cool character. It really is a good character in it, and I like the fact that she's really level-headed. And I guess the ditzy one gets killed.
Yeah.
Which normally these days it's the other way around. The more intelligent you are, the more likely you are going to get killed. Yeah. So the other 3 titles she was in was a film called American Raspberry. And a couple of other ones. There was Dirty Story and Survival of Dana. They wouldn't even reach your radar really. As you said, and she did turn up in 2003 with a documentary based around her called Do You Remember Laurie Zimmer? The film kind of chronicles the lady's Slovak, I think her name was. Search to discover why Zimmer quit acting, where she is now, and what she's doing. And it reveals that she lives near San Francisco, works as a teacher, and is married to actor Bruce Still, has 2 sons, and there's one of them is a musician, Julian Steele, of the band The KO Brothers, and the other one's a performance artist called Max Steele.
There you go.
And that was the conclusion. Yeah, didn't do anything outside of that, which to me might be something sadly missing and could have been something we've missed out on in film industry, but
true.
Yeah.
But I do have respect for people who get into acting and do get exposed to the high end of it and go, you know what?
Yeah, not for me.
I'd rather be a doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, fuck yous. Cholos on your ass.
Yeah.
Then quickly we'll go through a couple of the other people. Martin West played the father character Lawson. Other than this, he was probably known for playing Dr. Phil Brewer in General Hospital on TV series. Okay. He was also played a character called Sanger in Hitchcock's Family Plot. I'm going to just skip along that. That's all I need to say about him. Other than
his daughter dies.
Does a comatose.
He puts his jacket over her straight away.
She's dead, man.
I mean, it's one of those. I mean, because nobody could say if the child gets killed, what would you do?
What would you do?
Yeah,
he's got vengeance on his mind, though, at the time.
That I understood.
Fury to the max.
He doesn't really try too hard, does he? I guess it's pretty obvious she's dead.
Yeah.
But
still, wouldn't you be in denial for at least a little longer?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it was the Vanilla Swirl that brought him back. Into perspective.
Is that what he was really upset about?
Yeah.
That wasn't a swirl.
That's a scoop!
That killed Kim Richards. There was a paintball that was exploded.
Yeah. And we will get to it. I know you really want to talk about
Kim Richards.
Yes. No, she's a housewife now.
Yeah. We haven't got to her yet.
God
damn it. So the other person is Tony Burton, who plays Wells, the other prison convict. Now he's really known, or most known as playing the cornerman Duke in the 6 Rocky movies.
Yes, that's who he is.
Yeah, I thought I knew him.
So, that's him. And he was Larry Durkin, also in The Shining, as another horror villain. Burton, actually, a bit of background on him. He wound up in prison and he doing like 3.5 years for robbery. This was before he got into acting. And he did a workshop in the prison that used psychodrama, which is a form of therapy. By the way, I've studied drama, and this is one of my areas that I really, really love, psychodrama. I think it's a really, really cool way of kind of working on.
I've seen Paul put actors through psychodrama. It's not.
Chad in particular did it.
Chad was like,
we're going to do it again.
No. And Chad was just looking at me, get me out of here. I'm trapped like you are.
Anyway, so look, all this would point Burton towards his acting career when an emotional breakthrough achieved by one of his partners in the acting exercise dramatically demonstrated theatre's potential power. And he got into acting after that. I don't know what else to say about him. He's kind of like he's there.
He's there.
He's the token support role for
body count because someone's got to die in a plan.
Yeah, but it's
one plan.
But importantly, like I think you need that other prison convict to support the Wilson character. So someone who knows his past that comes with him and is talking about his past as they go with him.
Right,
so that's kind of his role there. We also have Charles Cyphers, who plays Starker. So he's the prison transport officer.
Yeah, you recognise his face.
Okay, so he would go on to play Sheriff Lee Brackett in Halloween and Halloween 2. Mm-hmm. He would also crop up in a couple of other Carpenter films. Someone's Watching Me, Elvis. He played Dan O'Bannon in The Fog, and he also played the Secretary of State in Escape from New York.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comes up quite a few times. Outside of Carpenter world, he also play a character called Pee-wee in Coming Home, not Pee-wee's Adventures, completely different person. He would play Donald Kay in Death Wish 2, Captain Lader in Hill Street Blues, which was what really a lot of TV viewers of the 80s would probably know him more so from. He cropped up in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares. Charlie played the role of Charlie Donovan in Major League. And also...
Tim, he's the coach, isn't he?
I don't know, is that the coach?
No, he's the one who tells the boss that he blows a raspberry at the boss.
Yeah.
Because he's the offside, he's trying to root for the team.
That's it. Yeah, thank you. I was I couldn't picture who he was from it.
Shut up, sit
down.
And
he also played Coach Cole Marin in the film version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
See, I couldn't bring myself to watch the Buffy film. I still haven't. I don't think I ever will.
I always thought that the Buffy film Buffy girl should have met Sarah Michelle Gellar in the TV series as an alternate universe thing.
Ooh.
And I've met Joss Whedon once and I forgot to pitch that to him as an idea.
Well, he's not in his control.
Yeah, that's true.
They're having a new movie. Oh, is it a movie or TV series?
There's a new TV series.
Movie. It's a movie.
It's a new movie, but it got shot down.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Well, it's continued.
No, it's still happening.
Continued on in the comics for years now, isn't it?
Yeah, the comics is continuing on as Series 8, 9, 10. Yeah. But the movie, as far as I knew, was in development hell, so maybe...
okay, maybe it has. Maybe it's gone. Okay, moving on. We have Nancy Keys, a.k.a. Nancy Loomis, who plays Julie. She would go on to play Annie Brackett in Halloween, basically the babysitter character.
Oh, right, okay.
She would also play Sandy Fidel in The Fog. Lindy Chalice in Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch, which actually at that time marked her as the only actor/actress to have appeared in 3 Halloween movies. Oh. She was married to director Tommy Lee Wallace, who actually would go on to direct parts 2 and 3 of the Halloween franchise. Again, not really much to say about her in this one.
The weak one. There's always got to be one who's going to go to say out loud what everybody's thinking. So she was the weak one.
She's the weak one, that's right. We have Harry Brandon, who plays Cheney. He was, he's been in a lot of films, mainly around the 30s and 40s. He cropped up in a Lauren Hardy film early on. Oh, shit. He would play Dr. Fu Manchu in Drums of Fu Manchu. Sorry, Anne.
Weirdly enough, I'm not saying
yeah. Tarzan and the She-Devil. He was in The War of the Worlds, played Captain Danette in Vera Cruz, and also Scar in The Searchers. Which is probably why he got cast in this. As a nod to the
seminal film,
another John Wayne film.
That made other films.
Let's move on to Kim Richards, played Kathy. Various family movies, and also played Olga Nordstrom in Little House on the Prairie. And, as you mentioned, Escape to Witch Mountain and Return to the Witch Mountain as Tia Malone. More recently known from reality series Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She was in... Yeah.
Isn't she the aunt of some famous... Or not biological, but art of Britney Spears or some shit like that.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that. She's been in various TV roles since. Maybe
loved her. She was
small roles, really.
Different Strokes for a while as the neighbour or something.
Oh right. She. I think I know the one. I remember the. Yeah. Anyway, she would play Christina Ricci's estranged mother in Black Snake Moan.
Back to our childhood crushes.
Yeah.
Bunch of creeps.
Yeah. Apparently, Carpenter would almost stalk Richards in order to get her in the role of Kathy. Carpenter was asked to... on that, the reason he did that is because she was so iconic with the Disney thing, and have her shot, he wanted that kind of innocence.
Yeah,
blown away, yeah.
Did that attract her to the role? She's like, yes, finally get.
I don't know, I don't know why she said yes, but he kept trying to get her. There was a lot of no, and eventually he got her. Interestingly, on that particular scene where she does die, Carpenter was asked to cut it back and edit Kathy's death scene in order to reduce the rating of the movie, which he did, but he sent the original print to the cinemas anyway.
And then after that, the classification board goes, you know what? Let's make a rule that doesn't happen again.
I mean, everyone would do that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You could get away with it, and everyone would fucking do it.
Oh, I sent the wrong one.
I was like, Paul, you get a gun. Are you going to shoot me? No. Yes. Are you sure you're not going to shoot me? No. Okay. Well, in the case you can come in. Okay. Oh, you shot me. Yeah.
So look, it was a really impactful moment in the film.
But what would they? Would he cut it entirely, or? I guess
you just saw the gun shot, but you didn't see her. None of the impact of
I think it's the physical.
Yeah. Anyway, and then the last person I want to talk about is Frank Doubleday, who plays the White Warlord. And the reason I say that is because he would crop up again in Carpenter film as Romero in Escape from New York.
Oh, okay.
So he's the white punk dude, essentially.
Yeah, he was a generic white guy who goes to...
He was relatively,
Of the four warlords, he's the one who was doing stuff.
Because you got more screen time.
And we will talk about his role in Escape from New York down the track, because there's an important thing about that's been a nod from another fellow actor.
Oh, okay.
But we'll talk about that down the track, as we said. It's all connected.
It is with Carpenter.
Now, let's look at Carpenter, the director's note. Okay, obviously he wrote it, directed it, did the music for it. Okay. Following Dark Star, Carpenter, as I said, was eager to make a Western but lacked the money to do so. So he loosely adapted Howard Hawks' film Rio Bravo and set it on the streets of LA instead. Do you want to talk about that in particular? Like we were talking earlier on about watching Rio Bravo, and it's loosely adapted.
Yeah, the Rio Bravo, the only connection I had was the big gun battle at the end there, which was a siege. But they were on the outside trying to get in.
Yeah.
And killing a bunch of bad guys.
You mean the good guys were?
Yeah, the good guys were.
Yeah.
So is it worth listeners seeking out, or?
Rio Bravo is a seminal Western film. It is very much. It's kind of, it breaks into a musical number. They sing songs because the Vicky dude was a pop singer, and Dean Martin can sing as well. And the songs themselves are actually not bad.
It's not like Paint My Wagon.
I was thinking exactly that.
It's not. It is one of those things where you can sing all this. But it is kind of weird how it happens, and then they get back into the actual film. But it's a classic film of its era where nothing happens. Where literally they walk into a room, put down a gun, talk, realise maybe we should go back outside and pick up a gun. That happens like 6 times.
Here's my thing, right? And I know this isn't a John Ford film, but is he still the most Academy Award-winning director?
Western director or director ever?
Director ever. Anyway, he's won a whole lot of shit for his stuff, right? And Ant will recognise what I'm saying in this. For me, Westerns is how you are with gangster films.
Yeah.
Right? So I just find them boring as batshit, right? There are exceptions, don't get me wrong, there are exceptions.
I know what you mean. It's
the spaghetti westerns I love. I absolutely love the spaghetti westerns.
Most people love the spaghetti westerns, and then they go and try and watch more, and they're just like,
it's like kill me now. I went through this thing where I wanted, because there was like the top 100 Empire films of all time. I was like, I'm going to churn through that stuff. I'm going to watch them all. And I always found the Western ones really fucking painful to watch. I was like, oh my god, seriously? I really like High Noon though, going back to like a really old school film. But
what do you think? What do you think of Tombstone and Wide Open? That sort of thing?
Why Tombstone's only good purely for not me. I consider myself to be in my prime. The rest of it you can just take with a pinch of salt.
Tombstone is a classic example of like, which Val Kilmer am I dealing with here?
Yeah.
Like, that is Val Kilmer 211. That's such a good film. But on either side of it, you're like, what the fuck?
I get those two films confused though.
With the Wyatt Earp and because they came out at the same time.
They did. That was a classic parallel. The studio, one studio panics and goes into like they're doing the gunfight at OK Corral. We'll do one.
Isn't one of them? Didn't they have a massive amount of cuts? And there's like a director's cut out there somewhere.
The Kurt Russell one, he effectively directed because the director they had wasn't that experienced. And apparently, this is what happens: that Kurt Russell does direct, and you don't mind as much because he actually really knows what the fuck he's doing.
Well, it's been in the industry enough to know.
Apparently, another rumor is London's Fallen. What's his name?
Jared Butler.
Apparently, Jared Butler.
I was going to call him Gordon.
Very much like that as well. On set, he starts directing.
All right.
And they start.
See, I don't know about him.
Yeah. But apparently they're saying that's his next logical step. He's one of those like Denzel Washington's very saying.
Be interesting to see how he.
I can't really see Jared Butler.
But you get actors who know how to shoot themselves in a scene, and they know how to construct.
They just want close-ups.
But they realise, like Stallone. If you ever seen Stallone direct himself, it actually is quite of an eye-opening experience because when he does The Expendables, he has this shorthand language. Just knows how to shoot, where to shoot, how to shoot me, how to shoot him, how to shoot me, and he'll say it in character on set. And it's just the science of way of directing yourself is really interesting. Kurt Russell, the whole scene with the guy where he stares down the guy who's unarmed. That was all him.
Yeah,
so how he's going to approach that. And how would he scare? How the hell would he intimidate a guy who's armed with a gun? He's not. And this is how you do it. Anyway,
I could hear you talk about that for ages, buddy. But we're crunching out of time. So just going back to Carpenter. So essentially, the film is essentially a siege mentality. It's got that siege mentality. And it's clear in the fact that it uses the faceless mob that you were talking about as well as the attackers. And this is a concept that Carpenter would often use, as in a small group defending themselves from an unknown assailant. There are echoes, as I said, of Night of the Living Dead in the sense, plus the use of the African-American actor as the lead. The film itself would gain more success overseas, primarily in Britain, but it would pave the way for many more films to come. What was your final verdict, would you say, on...
I think the history of the film interested me.
Yeah.
The fact that it was a hit overseas.
Massive Britain. Maybe that's why I remember it so...
Yeah, right.
I mean, I wasn't...
How old were you when you saw it?
So I wasn't alive when it came out, because it's 76.
Fuck you! Sorry.
I was like, this looks good.
Mum.
Worst parents.
Man, I don't know. It's this is where when I start talking to Miles, we're on a similar wavelength. As in, we're both from Britain. We both basically watched a lot of stuff from video rentals. Right. And I don't know how old I would have been. Maybe 9 or 10. Maybe I don't know. I was young. But a lot of those movies I watched around then, far too young.
Well, it's you're right. I'd say you were old enough in your own.
Hasn't shaped me at all.
Yeah, it's only the ones that scar you where you're like, I probably shouldn't have watched that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in this that's too.
It's not like I watched Human Centipede when I was like that.
Where your son, on the other hand, he loved it.
Yeah.
It's like the face melt moment in Raiders Lost Ark.
Yeah.
A lot of guys around your age, that was a bit where I was like, what the fuck? And that stayed with you for a bit.
Definitely.
Raiders, yeah.
I got fucked up by that, of all things, Roald Dahl, like The Witches.
Roald
Dahl film. There's a scene where Angelica Houston peels her face.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's still down there. People do mark that as a really scary film.
It's kind of creepy as well, because at the start of the film, when they're all stuck in the painting and everything,
that's
as well.
it. And even the subject, it's the ending doesn't really he doesn't stop being a mouse, for example, right? He's still a mouse. Yeah.
So this film's pretty apart from the girl being shot, it's kind of it's harmless kind of.
Yeah, it is.
Cowboys and Indians,
exactly,
pretty much.
Yeah, you're right.
But that was really cool. I think I watched it when I was younger, and I didn't get a full appreciation for it. But rewatching it again recently, from a filmmaking point of view, there's some really the way the visual storytelling I was mentioning before. It's cut together really well. Some of those.
Agreed. Yeah.
Some of those action scenes.
If you were to do a remake now, because obviously we're talking about the remake, I don't think it was that good.
No.
But what would be the essence? If you were to pitch me one, you want to pitch me about Precinct 13, the remake, in one sentence, what would be the essence of your remake that will pay homage to? We'll do it right.
I think it's got to come back to what Carpenter was trying to do, which was it's the faceless mob attacking a group of people. You've got to focus, because that to me is where horror is scary, is when you don't know what's coming at you, and because you're leaving it to the audience's imagination, and by having just it being kind of like a moment out of the blue and just.
But you never really get any. It's all they're all wide shots, or
you
never really. You're seeing shapes move in the dark, but.
Yeah. And even maybe wouldn't actually put faces to the warlords either. Maybe just have a random gun out the window as it's driving past, so you get that sense of danger and stuff. So you never really see the forces attacking. Yeah. So, but for me, to me, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's the best Carpenter film, but it was one that I have very strong nostalgic emotions over, and I really love it. And the music, as I said, to me, this is my favourite of his.
I think this is the start of his run of classics. He had one of the best runs in history.
Hell yeah!
And I think this is the start.
And we're gonna get talking into that. We're gonna start, because we've had Dark Stars, as you know, that was a student film essentially, and he was teaming up to kind of basically did that at university, as we've discussed.
And if you compare him to Craven, like he got good quicker.
Yeah,
like his films got.
Hit his stride really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So that basically concludes our second horror film surgery for the season. We do hope you enjoyed our discussions. Until next time, we are Ben Skinner.
What's the opposite of punta?
Good Abends?
Yes.
No, that's good evening. Yeah.
Write it and tell us.
You should have done ciao, Italian. You should have gone ciao because it's hello and goodbye. So anyway.
That's true. Or ciao bella.
Ciao bella. And Anthony Yee.
See ya.
And that just leaves me, your humble host, Paul Farrell. Until next time, goodbye.
You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. John Carpenter. The Early Years. Assault on Precinct 13. Music supplied by Peter Nezik. For more discussions or podcasts, head over to surgeonsofhorror.com or head over to our Facebook and Twitter sites for the latest news and updates.